I'm an Access Consciousness Facilitator, and this is the Audacious Ask. And what is the Audacious Ask, you ask yourself? Well, one of the things that I've noticed is we have been programmed or conditioned to ask for way less than what's exciting for us, way less than, you know, what we can like get fired up about. It's just like, oh, well, you know, I'd like to create for this next bill. Like, oh, what would it be like if I had enough money to pay my rent? Or what would it be like if I just had enough money to pay for my kids' tuition? Or, you know, like maybe we could go on a vacation if we're lucky. And that didn't sit well with me. I was like, forget that crap. What would it be like if we could always go on vacation? And what would it be like if we always had enough money to do the stuff that's exciting and fun for us?
Hello, can you hear me there?
I can. Hi.
That's good. I just managed to unmute myself. Hello, Paula. I see you on the screen as well. So,
yay.
Hi there. Paula and I know each other. We work together quite a lot. Hi, Jennifer.
I'll see you on the Audacious Ask.
I have spoken to you about a month ago, or maybe a little less than a month ago. I was in New Zealand at the time. Just to refresh your memory on it.
No, I do remember your building, you moved.
Yeah, we moved to Melbourne.
And then you had the carpet ripped out from under you.
That's right, yeah. So I lost my primary contract over here, my main income. And so I've been away working in New Zealand and then speaking on a cruise, and now I've been back in Melbourne for a week. My audacious ask at the time I last talked to you, which is still the case, is to have 2 new contracts in place before Christmas, because we need to generate income from about that time onwards to keep things rolling. We talked about, you know, some of the types of work that I do, and openness to doing even different things, and also that I can make more money for less effort, to quote you, which I love to do. That's all good. Love to do that anytime. So I've been talking to people I come across and sort of feeling like I'm at a point where I need to now take some more action on. One of the metaphors I sometimes use with people is a moving ship is easier to steer than one that's just sitting still.
No kidding.
I need to, so within me, I feel the need to take some more action, but I'm not quite sure what action to take, because I don't want to just take action for the sake of anything. I'm really looking for a little more insight and spiritual guidance, and for people with connections to come across my path that can open new doorways and things like that.
Cool. It's cool. So the cruise ship speaking and the New Zealand stuff, that happened afterwards, or you had that lined up before?
I had that already lined up beforehand. That was lined up some months earlier, yes.
Cool. I like it. And so when you decide that you're going to have a new gig, what's your usual process? Like if somebody says, oh, hey, Mark, I'd like you to come in, do this thing. How do you know it's going to add to your life?
Historically, I've had 4 main channels. One is my wife has promoted some of the courses that I teach in NLP and various other things. Secondly, there's been corporate connections, mostly in New Zealand, some in Australia, but mostly in New Zealand, such as one I did an event in New Zealand during November, earlier November. Thirdly, I do coaching, and that tends to rise out of events I do, and people say, hey, I'd like to work with you, and can you help me with this or that, whether it's in a business or their personal life. And fourthly, there are just sometimes things that come off our website that just, we've got a New Zealand and Australian website.
Nice.
Sometimes there are just things that come from there. But right now, it's like there's a bit of a hiatus, and I treat that as it feels like the universe is saying there's a shift in direction.
Maybe.
Which will utilize.
Let's ask your body. So Mr. NLP, get out of your head for a second.
Yeah,
So your hand
yeah,
on your heart and your hand on your belly button.
yeah.
Okay. So ask this question: does it add to my life to work before Christmas or work after Christmas? What feels lighter?
It feels lighter to start the work after Christmas,
Yeah.
and also to know that I've got it in stream, therefore not having to stress about it before Christmas.
Cool. So when we stress about stuff, what do we create?
Toxins in the body, and not very much that's useful, but nevertheless.
That's what we create. We create shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So what if there was never a good reason to worry about anything?
Then I'd have spare time.
You would?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is what I'm seeing in my head, Mark, is what if you got out a calendar and you asked, what month am I talking about? And your body was like, August. And you're like, cool, where in the world will I be in August? And your body's like, Mexico. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And then you start asking questions, not based on fact, not based on conclusion, just based on energetic awareness of where the universe would like to point you. And so I know this is a little weird, but this is how I build my calendar, is like, okay, where am I going to be? One. And then it's like, okay, well, what does Mexico want?
Yeah. And without knowing what you're doing, just you're going with a body felt sense of where.
It's like, okay, where?
Yeah.
Or no, it was August, right? It was when. Then it was like where. And then what does Mexico want? And then it can be after that, it's like, okay, cool. Who do I need to connect to? And then when you're building you've already gotten the awareness of what it is, then it's so much more easy to go and connect with the people. You know, like, okay, well, cool. I'm having an event in Mexico City in August. That might not be the brightest idea. It might be pretty hot. But anyways, we're just making this up.
Yeah, cool.
And it's like, this is what it's going to be about. And then you're like, okay, well, obviously the people who are going to want to know about it are these people, you know. So you're way out of conclusion, and you're way out of working from lack. Does that make sense? It's like, you're like, okay, well, I need to put, money in the tip jar before Christmas. Well, it's like, okay, well, if you move backwards in time rather than trying to move forwards in time, it's actually easier. And so maybe, after you say, okay, well, what's next after that? Like, you've already sort of started to build out this August in Mexico thing. Then the next thing might be like New Year's in Dubai. And then you're like, oh, well, obviously I can work on that right now. And, the universe is kind of strange. And, as an NLP practitioner, you'll know that, that what the things are that come up for us next aren't always linear.
Yes.
And, if we're naturally linear thinkers, or we've been preconditioned to be linear thinkers, then what we can do is we can end up cheating ourselves out of like really great stuff because it's not linear to choose it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sort of appeals to me in a way, because quite a few people around me that I've talked to so far, as I've just sort of been spreading the word a bit, are giving me more traditional lines like, I've been self-employed for 25 years, and I say, well, go get a job or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yuck, don't want to do that. I want to do stuff that inspires me, and I want to do, I'm open to some new things, as well as making use of what when I say making use of what I already have, it's not about just repeating what I've already done.
Exactly.
It's about that's what I feel well equipped to bring to the world, and what I'm inspired to bring to the world, because there's a lot of the things that I'm, even as I do those, I'm developing new ways of doing them.
Of course.
But
And that's
I love it.
who you
That's
are.
what makes me sing.
Yeah.
So,
If you were meant to like be a bus driver your entire life, you would have done that.
yeah.
Did you know this? The average person who decides that they're going to be self-employed, who isn't well suited to being self-employed, will give up after 3 years.
Yeah.
And so the next time somebody says to you, you should get a job,
Yeah.
you go ahead and say to them, well, why don't you get a job? And they're like, oh, I already have a job. You're like, good, stay there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it feels risky. I've been in this territory before, but I don't overly like it because I have responsibilities and commitments. But at the same time,
let me ask you this. Mark. Did you find somebody to run your bars? Did you have that Access Consciousness bars yet?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, so there's a light touch modality that Access Consciousness is like the very first thing that you would experience with Access Consciousness, other than, this type of thing. And what it does is it starts to remove the thoughts and feelings and emotions out of your head so you can actually be aware of what you can create. And so if there's a whole lot of doubt swirling around in your head, what happens is it can become like a highway of doubt in your head, and this will change it. It will change it. You'll be like, I know who I have to call, rather than, having this highway of doubt in your head.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing. You're in Melbourne right now?
After that.
You're in Melbourne right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Access Consciousness Melbourne website, I've got a post on there that has all of the Access Bars classes in Melbourne right now.
Is that what it's called? Access Consciousness?
Access Consciousness Melbourne.
If I Google that, I'll get it.
On there with all the bars classes. So you can go and have a bars session for, like, most people charge about $200 for a bars session. Or you can go for a whole entire day and take an Access Bars class and have your bars run a bunch of times and learn more about it for $300.
Okay.
So it's a no-brainer. So go and check that out. I would love for you to do that. I think it's going to make a world of difference in how you're feeling. And you might actually get to tap into more creative capacities with it. You'll notice something, being a coach and a trainer, you'll notice the difference that it makes in, like, if you decide to go for a class, just have a look at how everybody sort of looks and feels at the beginning of the class, and then have a look at how everybody looks and feels, including you, at the end of the class, because it's really, really a cool thing. It's brain science. It's been studied to change the neurophysiology. There's a study by Dr. Jeffrey Fannin to show the difference in this. And there's actually, if you go on to YouTube, there's a documentary called Beyond Words. So if you look up Access Consciousness Beyond Words on YouTube, there's a beautiful documentary that talks about how the bars work. And they're pretty amazing. That's my infomercial for Access Bars. So here's your homework. Go get your bars run or go to a bars class. And 2, look at the calendar and ask the calendar, 1, when, 2, where, 3, what, 4, who.
Yes.
And then act on the awareness and report back.
Okay, will do.
You're welcome.
Jennifer.
Well, that's been our hour, everybody. So how does it get any better than that? I am off for the next 2 weeks because I am going to be in Australia, in Melbourne. Starting on the Saturday, I have a class on Saturday night. And then on Sunday and Monday nights, I have a class as well. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have the Access Consciousness Foundation there, which is an amazing class. Yeah, so if anybody wants to join me there, I would absolutely love it. And yeah, see you on the 18th. Ciao, guys.